Welcome to the Wealthy Woman's Podcast, a podcast for high-achieving women who are great at making money but struggle to build wealth. You'll learn how to take control of your money, increase your net worth, and make more. Ladies, it's time to create a life with more money and more freedom. Let's dive in. Well, hello there. Welcome to the podcast. Oh my goodness, you all. I am so excited about this episode. As you heard last week, I have some big news that I will be sharing with you all today. But before I get into it, I want to introduce you to our topic for today. So we're going to be talking about why overspending is so painful. I know that for most of us, we think it's just full of pleasure and it makes us feel good. And that is true. But there is a natural law called the law of polarity. And that means that there are two sides to everything. Every single thing that exists in the world has two sides. There is a pleasure side and a pain side. There's good and bad. There's positive and there's negative in everything that exists. And I want you to think about a battery. When you think about a battery, it has a positive charge and a negative charge. Two sides, right? And so if that's true for a battery, that's true for overspending. There is a good side to overspending where it feels good. We get that dopamine hit. We get some pleasure. Maybe we get some relief from a negative emotion that we're feeling. So that's the positive side. But there has to be a negative side to that as well. And for so many of us, we ignore that and we allow ourselves to just focus on what we will get in the moment. And we prevent ourselves from seeing that, okay, if I do this, there is a negative side that I'm going to have to deal with in the future. So you may be thinking, okay, Jermaine, I get it. Overspending has a positive side and a negative side. And you're saying that everything has that. So what's the problem with overspending? If I'm going to have to experience positive and negative no matter what I do, I might as well just overspend, right? Well, here's what I want you to know. Yes, there is a positive and a negative to everything. So if you saved money instead of overspending, there's a positive side to that and a negative side to that. If you decide to pay off your debt instead of overspending, there's a positive side and a negative side to that. And if you decide to invest, you're right, there's a positive and a negative side. So everything has a positive and a negative. And if everything has a positive and a negative, and you're like, well, what's the point? I'm so glad you asked, because here's the point. I'm going to make my point using a quote that I saw years ago. And it says this: doing the hard thing now makes life easier, but doing the easy thing now makes life harder. Everything in life has a hard negative side, but you want to choose your hard deliberately. Most of us choose our hard by default. We choose the easy, pleasurable thing now, and when we do this, we end up dealing with the painful negative thing later. But listen to the quote: doing the easy thing now makes life harder. So 9 times out of 10, when you choose the easy thing first, then the hard thing is usually much more painful. It's much more hard. Okay? It's so much harder. And so, yes, you're right. Everything has a positive and a negative. But when you choose to do the easy thing first, then life is harder. But when you choose to do the harder thing first, the thing that's maybe harder in the moment, to say, oh, instead of overspending, I'm going to save this money. Yeah, that might seem a little hard to do in the moment, especially if you're not used to doing it, but it will make your life so much better in the future. Not even in the distant future, but even in the near future, your life will be so much better. versus spending, overspending, impulse spending now feels good in the moment. You get that hit of dopamine. You feel okay now. But then guess what? You've got all these consequences to deal with. Stress, less peace of mind, less financial freedom, more debt, less savings. It's just so much harder when you choose the easy thing first. So let's look at some examples. Let's first look at a non-money example. So it is very easy to just eat bad, like to eat sugary, salty foods. It feels good in the moment. And it's harder to be a little bit more disciplined, to eat well and to exercise. But when we don't do this, we create a life in the future that is so much harder for us. I knew a gentleman who was the nicest guy in the world, but he loved his food. He loved sugary drinks. He loved big gulp Mountain Dews. He liked to eat fried foods and salty foods. And listen, doing these things in moderation is, okay every now and then, but he did it almost every single day. And at first he started to gain some weight. And then after the weight gain, here comes diabetes. And that didn't change anything. He continued to live that way, choosing the easy thing now, the more pleasurable things now. And then, unfortunately, he started to have some kidney failure and he ended up needing dialysis. And then, unfortunately, one of his legs ended up getting amputated. And then a year later, the other one. And he lived that way for several years where he, was on dialysis, getting it several times a week. And he was experiencing living in a wheelchair because he could not walk anymore. And eventually he passed away. So this is a really hard example, a painful example of what that is like. And we're looking at it in just a non-monetary way. Okay. You can even look at it in a relationship. Let's say you have a couple, maybe they're married and, the male gets enticed by another female, doing that easy thing, having that affair, stepping out on the wife. That is kind of easy to do, right? And it feels good in the moment. You're choosing that pleasure in the moment. But what happens down the road when stuff hits the fan, and what could happen to your family if children are involved, assets are involved, the relationship just fizzles out, like all of the things that happen just because you chose to do the pleasurable thing now versus choosing to do the hard thing, work on your relationship, make sure that you're making good choices even when it's hard, right? And then you can preserve your family, you can preserve your relationships, you can preserve your life, right? And so these are just two non-money examples of what it's like when you choose the easy thing in the moment. You make your life harder versus if you decided, no, I'm not going to do that. Now let's look at some money examples. So let's just say you are someone who spends everything you make. You make good money and you spend everything you make. You could be a doctor, a lawyer, a nurse. You could have your own business. You could be a coach, a consultant. You can be in corporate America. You could be a teacher, a professor. It doesn't matter your profession, because I believe that no matter what your profession is, you can make good money, right? So whatever you're doing, let's say you make good money and you spend it all. So that's the easy thing to do, right? Not to pay attention to your money, not to put some aside. You just spend it all, right? What is that going to do for your life in the future? Instead of maybe saving 10% of that money. Now, that could be hard, especially if you're spending all of your money and you don't have any systems in place to help you to save, and you tell yourself you don't know how to save and you've never done it before, and every time I do, I spend it all, right? That can be hard, but it's hard only in the moment, and it will make your life so much easier in the future, okay? And I want to kind of show you how that is. So it's so much harder, like if you didn't do what I'm saying and like save 10% of your money, it's harder to not have money when you hit retirement age, and you have to work for money the rest of your life, even though you don't want to, right? And let's just bring it a little closer to home. It's harder to have unexpected expenses come up if you don't have cash to handle it and you need to go into debt to take care of it. And then The other thing I will say, it's harder to want to be able to set your kids up for success. But when it comes time to send them to college, to pay for their wedding, or help them with their first home purchase, you're not in a position to be able to do that because you chose to do the easy thing now, and then it made your life harder in the future where you weren't able to do the things that you so desire to do to set your children up to have a better life than you did. That's one of the things that drives me every single day. That's one of the things that helps me to make those hard decisions today so that my life can be easier in the future, so that I can be that mom in the future that can send my kids to school debt free, that can help them with the down payment for their first home if they want to buy one, that can help pay for their weddings if they decide to get married. Like, I want to be that person. And that to me is so much more pleasurable to be able to do that than to just indulge in impulse spending and overspending now. And so that is what I mean by choosing the easy things today can make your life harder. But if you will be one of the amazing few, it's not everybody's going to do this, but if you can decide to become the kind of person that when it comes to your life, when it comes to your money, you're going to do those hard things now so that your life can be so much more pleasurable in the future. So I think I made the case that choosing to do the hard things now truly does make your life easier in the future. But we have to consciously expand our thinking from just the here and now and the short term to be a long-term thinker where we're thinking about our well-being, which includes today, but it also includes tomorrow, and it also includes a year from now. So we don't want to be the kind of people that just think about the instant gratification that we can get today. Let's think about today. Let's have some pleasure in our lives today, but let's also set ourselves up so that our lives can be enjoyable next week and next month and next year. And it's not only focused on today. So what we're going to do for the rest of the episode is we're going to kick off what I'm calling the Stop Overspending series. And we're going to kick that off with the 10 pain points that we as human beings experience when we choose to overspend now and deal with the consequences later. Okay. So before I get to the 10 pain points, though, I am going to share my announcement with you all right now. So here it is. I am so excited to announce that I am launching a brand new course that I'm calling the Stop Overspending course. Now, this eventually will be a self-study course that anyone can purchase at any time from my website or by going to the show notes. But if you're listening to this and it's before October 28th, then guess what? You can join me for the live version of this course. You can join me live as I teach and record the Stop Overspending course. Now, before I get into the details of what that is, let me just explain why I'm doing this in the first place. So I have spoken to so many of you, and you are, again, out here doing your thing. You are career women. You have your own businesses. You are professionals. You are making good money. But the one thing you're not doing is building wealth. Okay. And one of the main reasons why you're not doing it is because of overspending. You're either overspending in your personal life or in your business. And this is the main thing that's holding you back. And I do not want that to be the case anymore. And so this is my way of helping you to stop overspending for good. And I want to give you an organized resource that you can refer to over and over and over again that will give you the exact steps you need to follow to stop overspending for good. And I wanted to create something that was very accessible. And I know so many of you want to work with me. You want to work with me privately, or you want to work with me inside of the Wealthy Woman's Academy. And this right here will give you everything you need to get ready to do that. And for whatever reason, you're not doing it, right? And I know that it could be several reasons. And I think that this course can be the course that will set you up to be able to change your life fully, your financial life fully, not just with overspending, but with actual wealth building. Okay. And I want to help you to get ready for that mentally and financially. And I know that the Stop Overspending course will do just that. And lastly, the truth is, this is something that has been on my heart for so long. I've wanted to do an entry-level course that was on demand, available for people to buy anytime that they wanted to buy it. If you find me and you're like, oh my God, yes, I'm an overspender. How can I fix this? Like right now, I'm ready. I want you to just be able to go to my website and grab the course, or to go to the show notes and just grab the course. I want it to just be available, affordable, and accessible to anybody who wants it. And so this is me doing what I've been wanting to do for a very long time now. And I'm so excited about it. And to celebrate and to get you all primed and pumped and ready for the live version of the course, I'm going to be releasing a brand new short and sweet podcast episode around overspending over the next 9 days or so. So over the next 9 days, weekdays only, leading up to the day we start, we're starting on October 28th, you will get a brand new podcast episode. So make sure to look for it and listen in every weekday. Okay, so here's how the live course is going to work. I'm going to teach the course live over a 6-week period. These lessons will be recorded and uploaded into a course platform so that you can refer to them, like I said, over and over again, 24/7. Now, in the future, this will be available for sale on my website, and you can also go to the show notes to pick it up. So if you're listening to this and it's like December 2024 or later, you can go to my website and buy the Stop Overspending course right now, or you can go to the show notes and grab it. But if you're listening to me before October 28th, 2024, you can enroll and be a part of the class while I teach it live. I love teaching to actual people, not just a computer screen. So that's why I'm doing this. And I love to get your questions. I love to feel your energy, and I want to coach you through the experience. So here's how the live experience will work. I will teach one class per week for the next 6 weeks. Each will be recorded and you will not be on camera. So if you join me live, you will not be on camera. You will be in listen only mode. And these classes will be taught on Monday evenings beginning on October 28th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can get all the details and grab your spot and enroll at jermainefoley.com/SOS or by simply going to the show notes. Now, every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, except for the week of Thanksgiving, we will have a live class where I will teach you. And then the replays will be available within 24 to 48 hours. So the course is going to be recorded and you will get access to the replay every week within 24 to 48 hours. It will be uploaded into the course platform that you will get access to when you enroll. So if you cannot join me live, no worries at all. The replays will be up, like I said, within 24 to 48 hours, and you can tune into the course at that time. Now, here is the kicker for everybody who joins me live. You will be invited to a live Q&A and coaching opportunity on Wednesdays following the Mondays that we have class. So we'll have class on Mondays, and then that Wednesday, you will get invited to a live Q&A and coaching session. This is where you can get all your questions answered. This is where you can get some coaching. If you're having mindset blocks, if you are an overspender, you're like, Jermaine, I just need some help, you are invited to join. Now, this will be in a Zoom meeting. So this is going to be where we're all in a room together. You'll be able to see me. I'll be able to see you. We'll be able to talk to each other back and forth. These sessions, though, will not be recorded. So these sessions are going to be just available to those who are in the live class, and these are not recorded. So you get to be as transparent and open as you want to be. This is your time to experience what it's like to be in a community of other women all on the same journey as you, conquering their overspending habits so that they can build lasting wealth and change their finances for good. So remember, in the future, this will be a self-study course, so the Q&A and coaching will not be included. This is only available for those of you who decide to join me live. You're going to also get Q&A and coaching every single week from me for 6 weeks. So if you ever wanted to ask me questions or experience what it's like to get coached again, this is an amazing opportunity. So don't let it pass you by. If you know that overspending is the one thing holding you back from building wealth, then you want to put yourself in this room. You want to invest in yourself and purchase this course, enroll in this course. It is so affordable. All you got to do is go to jermainefoley.com/SOS and you'll see how affordable it is. And it's just an investment in you. This is a great time. If you've never invested in yourself, if you've never invested in personal development, this is a great first step. Because let me tell you, you will not invest in anything more important than yourself. If you can conquer your overspending habits, imagine what the rest of your life will be like. Imagine how much money you will have, how wealthy you can be if you stopped overspending, if you stopped sending all of your money away impulsively to things that don't matter, and you started instead putting it into things that actually appreciate it versus depreciate it. Okay, all you got to do to secure your spot is go to jermainefoley.com/SOS or go to the show notes to get started. And we are kicking things off on October 28th, 2024 at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is a Monday. And if you cannot join me live, no worries at all. The replays will be available for you in your course portal and it will be loaded within 24 to 48 hours. Now, let's go ahead and get to the 10 pain points of overspending. Let's go. Number 1, mounting debt. Overspending often leads to us relying on credit cards and loans and resulting in debt that spirals out of control. High interest rates on credit cards can literally trap you in the cycle of borrowing money. And I call it the credit card debt cycle. So many of you find yourself here where you're stuck, right? You may pay it off and then you find yourself running it right back up again. You tell yourself you're not going to use your credit cards, but then there you are again, and you're paying hundreds of dollars in interest every single month. And some of you don't even realize it. I was working with a client recently and we added up how much interest she's paying every month, and it was $700. She was baffled. She couldn't believe it, all because she's kind of ignoring her money. But once we look at it and you see what's actually happening, then you can change it. So mounting debt is one of the big pain points that people experience from overspending. Number 2, the inability to save for the future. Overspending leaves so little room for saving, which can jeopardize both your short-term goals, like building an emergency fund, and your long-term goals, like getting ready for retirement. Number 3, the constant stress and anxiety. The emotional toll of overspending is significant. Worrying about bills, checking the bank balance, and fear and feeling out of control financially can lead to chronic stress and anxiety, and that will impact your overall well-being and mental health. Number 4, damaged relationships. Financial issues are one of the leading causes of tension in relationships. Overspending can create conflict between partners and or family members and just lead to so much tension and strife in relationships. Number 5, missed opportunities for wealth building. Number 5, missed opportunities for wealth building. Every dollar spent on unnecessary purchases is a missed opportunity to invest in things that could actually grow, like stocks, like education or business ventures. Overspending today can severely limit your financial freedom and opportunities in the future. Number 6, speaking of financial freedom, overspending can trap you in the paycheck to paycheck cycle, making it impossible to take risks or pursue dreams like starting a business, traveling, or taking off for personal reasons. Without a financial cushion, even small setbacks can be overwhelming. So number 6 is the loss of freedom. Number 7, constant overspending can lead to feelings of guilt and shame. These emotions can erode your self-confidence and create a negative cycle where overspending is used as a coping mechanism to escape all of the negative emotions that you feel. And it just leaves you in this cycle. Overspending is a trap, right? You overspend because you're bored, and then you spend money you don't have, so now you're stressed, so you overspend to escape the stress. And it's just like this endless cycle that is so hard to break free from. But again, the course that I'm creating will help you to break free from it. Number 8, missed life milestones. So overspending can cause you to delay or miss important life events like buying a home, starting a family, or paying for your child's education. Without a clear financial plan, these milestones might seem out of reach. We've got 2 more. Number 9, clutter and wasted resources. I can totally relate to this one. So excessive spending often leads to financial clutter, piles and piles of unused, unnecessary items. This not only creates a chaotic living experience, but it represents wasted money. So just think of all of the things in your home that you impulsively purchased. All of those things represent a dollar amount that could be out making you more money, right? Because if you would have put that money in an investment vehicle, that money would actually be making you money versus just sitting in your closet doing nothing and depreciating. Like that is what you are missing out on when you're just constantly buying things that you don't need. And then finally, number 10, it limits the ability to help other people. This is huge, you all. I know so many of you are generous. So many of you want to be able to help your family members. You want to be able to give to causes that are important to you. You want to be able to set your kids up for success, like I mentioned earlier. But when your finances are tied up in debt or excessive spending, it limits your ability to contribute to those things, right? It limits your ability to help your family or to give to your community. Like all of that is just limited when all your money is going out the door. It comes in and then it leaves right back out on bills and debt and other things that depreciate. Okay. And I don't want this to be your life. I don't want these 10 pain points to be your experience. And so if you can relate to anything I said, then the Stop Overspending course is for you. And join me live. Do not wait, because if you join me live, you're going to get 6 weeks of group Q&A and live coaching available to you every single week, the Wednesday after I teach the class live on Monday. This is your opportunity. Go to jermainefoley.com/SOS or to the show notes and grab your spot. I will see you in class. Bye-bye. Hey, before you go, if you're ready to create a life with more money and more freedom, then you're invited to join the Wealthy Woman's Academy, my signature coaching program where you'll learn how to take control of your money and build wealth without sacrificing your lifestyle. To get started, head on over to jermainefoley.com/WWA. That's Jermaine with a G. See you over there. Bye-bye.